So let's start with the grammar. We are going to open up the last two worksheets, which look like this. They say commas in sentences, and let's talk about it. They also say, we use commas to separate adjectives. Remember, adjectives describe our noun. So when we are giving more than one adjective to describe a noun, we separate them with commas. The naughty describes the Grinch, and envious also describes the Grinch. So the naughty, comma, envious Grinch walk down the mountain. So when we use more than one adjective to describe the noun, we separate them using commas. Another use is to separate items in a series. So you need a pencil, comma, an eraser, and a piece of paper. Now, this is also what I discussed with the kids in class. I see that they put a comma before the and. We don't do that. We don't put a comma before the and, we leave the comma. So you're only going to use a comma when you are separating things that are standing directly next to each other. When it comes to and, no comma, because the and tells us, okay, this is the last item. So you need a pencil, comma, an eraser, and a piece of paper. Good. Then a comma is also used often in introductory statements. Sometimes when we want to say something to someone, we kind of need a preface. We kind of need a little sentence to set them, to describe the setting, to give more information. So after an introductory statement, which means you actually want to say we learned about plants. But in order to tell the people when or where or how, we say in science, comma, we learned about plants. Okay, so you separate your introductory statement from the rest of the sentence, and then before, and, but, so, yet, and all. We know those words as our conjunctions or our joining words from compound sentences. So before you use your conjunction or your joining word, before you use that to separate your two simple sentences, we put a comma. So do you want cake, comma, or would you prefer pie? My two simple sentences were, do you want cake? Would you prefer pie? We separate them with a conjunction, but we must remember to put the comma in front. Good, so let's take a look at all of these sentences. You literally just have to put the commas in. You do not have to rewrite them. They say, insert commas where they belong in each sentence. Number 1, I put away my socks, my shirts, and my pants. So the comma will go in between socks and shirts, because those are the two items that are standing right next to each other. I put away my socks, comma, my shirts, and my pants. Number 2, before the movie, we bought popcorn. This is one with an introductory statement. We actually want to tell them we bought popcorn, but we want to explain the setting. So, before the movie, comma, we bought popcorn. Number 3, the man looked at me, so I smiled at him. The two simple sentences are the man looked at me and I smiled at him. So is my conjunction or my joining word, and that means the comma must go before it. The man looked at me, comma, so I smiled at him. Number 4, the game is interesting, innovative, and fun to play. Now, these are adjectives that describe the game, right? It's an interesting game, it's an innovative game. But we can't have our two adjectives directly next to each other. We must separate them with a comma. So it will be the game is interesting, comma, innovative, and fun to play. Number 5, after school, we will ride our bikes to the park. This is one with an introductory statement again. We actually want to tell them we will ride our bikes to the park, but we need to explain. So we say after school, comma, we will ride our bikes to the park. Number 6, Paul got off the table, but he didn't push his chair in when he left. Our two simple sentences, Paul got off the table, he didn't push his chair in when he left. This is my conjunction. I need to put a comma in front of it. Paul got off the table, comma, but he didn't push his chair in when he left. Number 7, I want to take a long, warm bath before I go to bed. This is two adjectives that we need to separate. Long describes the bath, warm describes the bath. We can't have them next to each other, so I want to take a long, comma, warm bath before I go to bed. Number 8, Mary wrote a good story and it had a surprise ending. These are two simple sentences. This is my conjunction. The comma goes before it. Mary wrote a good story, comma, and it had a surprise ending. Number 9, later this month, we will go skating. The actual statement is that we will go skating, but we want to put an introductory statement in there to explain. So later this month, comma, we will go skating. And then number 10, pick up your toys, your clothes, and your shoes. We are listing items. The two that are standing directly next to each other is toys and clothes. So pick up your toys, comma, your clothes, and your shoes. Good. The second page, I'm going to leave all to you. You go do that one by yourself. And then you are finished with your grammar.